Though the New York Knicks are only a few games into their schedule, they are already facing a dilemma that could define their season. They clearly are not as deep as they thought. Winning their first 2 games of the year papered over a smattering of bench mob struggles. But the Knicks could not overcome those same issues in Sunday's loss to the Miami Heat. On a night in which Karl-Anthony Towns struggled and also delivered too many of his trademark ticky-tack fouls, the back of the Knicks' rotation wilted, as it has, frankly, for much of the season. Guerschon Yabusele continues to miss wide-open threes and get blown by on the defensive end. The Jordan Clarkson signing is so far looking like a mistake. We are seeing why New York didn't necessarily want to rely on Tyler Kolek for regular minutes. We are also seeing why Landry Shamet, his try-hard defense in mind, couldn't nab more than a training camp deal over the offseason. Chalking the Knicks' loss to the Heat up to a short-handed rotation and many missed threes is perfectly fine. Ignoring these issues altogether, though, would be a mistake. The Knicks are supposed to be built to navigate off nights. Nothing underscores the fragility of New York's depth than the stretches it has attempted to log without Towns and Jalen Brunson. In large part because KT picked up an early fourth foul, the Knicks tallied 6 minutes against the Heat without either one of its stars on the floor. Those stints proved untenable. New York was outscored by 7 points in those 6 minutes, which is the equivalent of a minus 55.5 net rating. This isn't a one-off issue either. The Knicks totaled 6 no-KT or JB minutes through their first 2 games. While they outscored opponents by a point over the span, the offense has absolutely cratered. New York is averaging under a point per possession, which is terrible, and shooting sub 34% on twos as well sub 29% on threes. Small sample doesn't even begin to describe the body of work with which we're working. 12 total minutes will not define an entire season, and the Knicks, quite frankly, shouldn't be racking up a bunch of no-star minutes in the first place. At the same time, effective depth is able to work around curveballs, injuries, foul trouble, off nights, etc. New York isn't checking enough of those boxes when the majority of the top of the roster is anything less than awesome. New York doesn't need to sound the alarm just yet. The good news for New York: it's still early. Its depth can turn around. Josh Hart will continue to work his way into game shape after missing much of the preseason with a back issue. Yabusele will, hopefully, play himself into shape. Clarkson will hit more shots. Kolek will have a higher baseline. Deuce McBride will be back. Mitchell Robinson could be nearing his regular season debut, too. Let's also not forget the Knicks are implementing a brand new offense. Growing pains are part and parcel of that process. To that end, head coach Mike Brown deserves credit for not overly concerning himself with winning a road game in October. He could pull Yabusele or Clarkson from the rotation entirely and not receive much pushback. Continuing to play them will benefit New York by the end of the season. Either they don't pan out, in which case the Knicks will know it for sure, or they'll work themselves out of this rut, in which case the team will be deeper and just generally better off. Evaluating New York with an iron stomach and open mind, and within the context of who they're missing is important. Even amid imperfections, the Knicks have the look and feel of a contender. Their pain points may resolve themselves over time. There's also the chance they don't. It's paramount to track them, to spotlight them, until we know for sure. Miami Heat point guard Terry Rozier's early 2025-26 NBA season has gone from very, very bad to worse. Rough fate for a man who's been indicted as part of an FBI gambling scandal. The 6'1" pro is accused of having given a friend inside information about an injury ahead of a March 2023 contest while he was with the Charlotte Hornets so that the friend could relay the intel to gamblers who could promptly reap the benefits from under-prop bets on his output. Rozier is one of a number of NBA figures who have been indicted, along with Portland Trail Blazers head coach Chauncey Billups and former player and assistant coach Damon Jones. Rozier and Billups have been placed on leave from Miami and Portland, respectively, the league has announced. Now, per Tim Reynolds of the Associated Press, Rozier has received even more bad news. He won't get paid any of his $26.6 million salary for this season while the investigation continues. Reynolds tweets that the 31-year-old's money will be put in an interest-bearing account. Assuming Rozier is cleared of any wrongdoing, he would be given his withheld funds in full. His lawyer, Jim Trusty, asserted Rozier's full innocence while on Fox News Tuesday, per Barry Jackson and Anthony Chang of the Miami Herald. "I think the prosecution basically knows it, but they liked the idea of having him as a trophy in this case to kind of mirror the bigger case with Chauncey Billups," Trusty said. "And I hope over time, they will start to realize maybe a little bit of buyer's remorse. They bit off more than they can chew." Rozier remains a productive player when he does suit up, although he wasn't in Miami's rotation this year even before his arrest. In 64 games last season with Miami, he averaged 10.6 points on .391/.295/.852 shooting splits, 3.9 rebounds, 3.5 assists, and 0.9 steals a night. This is an innocent guy who's getting completely screwed, to use some legal vernacular, in terms of his career. "It's an 11-year vet," Trusty added. "He's played 1,000 games. They're latching onto a game where the NBA literally cleared him 2 years ago and trying to suggest that somehow they know better and that they know he was a conspirator, as opposed to just somebody who had a hurt foot." According to journalist Andy Bailey of Bleacher Report, the Miami Heat management would very much like to trade star player Zion Williamson. The 25-year-old is reportedly the Florida team's main target, but it depends on several factors, including the power forward's inconsistent physical condition. That's because Zion Williamson misses games due to injuries very frequently, and the Heat don't want to risk going after a high-salary player who might not be available. However, he had been participating normally in preseason and regular season games. But against the Boston Celtics, due to foot pain, he was out once again. "There's more risk here, as Zion Williamson has a history of injuries. But there's a lot of potential for reward, too," Bailey wrote. Zion, under Eric Spoelstra as coach, could become the superstar he seemed to be at the beginning of his NBA career. Zion, the first pick in the 2019 draft, will receive $39.4 million in 2025-26 and is under contract with the New Orleans Pelicans until 2027-28. The issue is that his team has undergone changes in management, and there is a lot of confidence that he will be able to play normally. Therefore, if the Heat attempts any kind of trade for the forward, they will encounter resistance from the Pelicans. It's a fact that the Heat are looking for a big name for the franchise, especially after trading Jimmy Butler to the Golden State Warriors, but Zion Williamson is the one the management likes best. In fact, the Miami team's interest dates back a long time, when the first rumors about a trade began about 4 years ago. Today, for the Heat to secure a trade for him, it would require several draft picks, in addition to players who can contribute immediately. For the next few years, Miami owns all of its picks except the 2027 pick, as it is held by the Charlotte Hornets, top 14 protection. Since arriving in the NBA, Zion Williamson has never played in the playoffs. In the 2021-22 and 2023-24 seasons, the Pelicans qualified but were eliminated in the first round, but the player was sidelined due to injuries. Last season, for example, the team wanted to assemble a trio with DeJounte Murray, Brandon Ingram, and him. However, the three never managed to play together. Months later, Ingram was traded to the Toronto Raptors. In 2 games in 2025-26, Williamson is averaging 27.0 points, 9.5 rebounds, 6.0 assists, 4.0 steals, and shooting 46.2% from the field. Follow us on social media. All the latest NBA news is on Jumper Brazil's social media channels. Analysis, statistics, and tips. Check out all our content, but don't forget to follow us there. Want to know everything that's happening in the best basketball league in the world? Then turn on notifications in the bottom right corner of your screen and don't miss a thing.